If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Before I get to the story, I want to thank the channel James Munder. He's got a good channel. I found this story over on his channel. I had to share it here. I'll leave his channel linked up below. As you can see from the title of this video, and this is common theme amongst these witches and Satanists, Katy Perry, apparently for quite some time now, but is attempting to buy the home in which some of the Manson murders occurred, the Charles Manson murders. Now, most of you are aware Charles Manson and this entire story around Manson was another one of these CIA operations. Charles Manson was under MK Ultra mind control. It's not a surprise. A lot of these criminals and killers that get glorified in the media are people who are victims of MK Ultra. Now, Charles Manson was under mind control, and so were the people that he was quote-unquote controlling. This was a CIA operation to disband the hippie movement in the sense to cause civil unrest, as well as take distraction away from Vietnam, as more and more people were pushing the peace movement and wanted people to get on board with the hippie theme. The government and the CIA obviously wanted to remain in Vietnam. There's a lot of stuff about that. It's along the lines of many of the CIA operations that we hear about and talk about. But this specific home was owned by a man named Daniel Donahue in 1961. Charles Manson supposedly broke into this home and attempted to murder this man in 1969. But on this same property happens to be the estate where Manson's followers butchered couple Lenny and Rosemary LaBianca in their home, which adjoins on the property. And now Katy Perry is in a war with, this is almost, it sounds like something that's made up, with nuns over trying to acquire the property. Sister Rose Catherine and Sister Rita Callanan are locked into a battle over who has the right to sell this historic convent where they once lived, because these nuns once lived on the property, and Katy Perry is doing everything she can to buy this property. Now, why do you think Katy Perry is targeting this property? This is common theme amongst the Satanists, amongst the occult. We've seen this with Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin. You think this random coincidence that he had to buy the house that Aleister Crowley performed many of his most satanic black magic rituals inside of, off the southern bank of Loch Ness in the early 1970s? Do you think that was a coincidence that he had to live there, that he wanted to live there? This little dump out in the middle of nowhere, that he wanted to own it? Of course not, because they worship Crowley. They worship his teachings. These musicians, these actors, these men and politicians, men of business, women of business who are part of the Eastern Star and other secret societies, is trying to get this home, which is somewhat sacred, I guess, to the elites, because this is where one of their CIA operations went down, which involved a ritual sacrifice and a ritual killing, which involved CIA mind control, once again, which is something that they blew up through the media as a massive distraction. It was more fear-mongering and fear tactics. That was the whole point. That's what it was. Now, Katy Perry has some weird interest in Charles Manson, which isn't a surprise. At one time, she referred to her boyfriend, Russell Brand, who was another satanic Illuminati puppet. She referred to him as a cross between, get this, Charles Manson meets Jesus meets Elvis. He's a walking genius. Just standing next to him makes me smarter, she says. And she talks about Charles Manson in the sense that he was a genius. I mean, this is the stuff. These people are insane, absolutely insane. But this stuff nobody seems to care about. So let me show you this article, which is funny because these nuns, supposed nuns, who might as well, they could be Satanists as well, who knows? They talk about Katy Perry being a Satanist and a witch and how they don't want her contaminating the property. And they even point out Katy Perry attending things like the Salem Witch Walk in 2014 in Salem, Mass, where you can see photos of Katy Perry standing in front of Who Are Witches, a sign with witches on the wall. You can even see Manson on the wall and her with other Satanists standing around. So what's going on is it's a legal battle. It's been going on for quite some time where Katy Perry is demanding she wants this property. She's trying to do whatever she can. The nuns are claiming that they should have ownership over it. And they're writing letters to the Pope, and it's going back and forth. It's a bit of a comedy act, but I want to point this out because it's so ridiculous how these celebrities constantly are always trying to still let you know that they're witches and Satanists, that they have a fascination with all of these people who are involved in the occult, and nobody seems to care. Like I said earlier, with Jimmy Page and Crowley, her with Manson. And again, these are CIA operatives, no different than David Koresh, no different than Jim Jones in Jonestown, Koresh from Waco. That's what Charles Manson was. Doesn't mean that the murders didn't occur. Some people do believe that they were hoaxes. Some don't. But it was still a CIA operation. So in trying to obtain this property, the nuns called out Katy Perry. And they said, "Aren't you a witch?" They said it's pretty clear that you're a witch. You attend the Salem witch walks. You're involved with witchcraft and your music and all this stuff. And she said, "Did I go to Salem? Was I in Salem?" She said to her people who were there, presented in front of them, saying that she's not a witch or a Satanist, jokingly pretty much saying she didn't go to Salem when there's evidence of her there in Salem. We see her at satanic places like Coachella wearing her satanic outfits. What's her song? Dark Horse, just filled with Illuminati, pyramids, Egyptian worship, Satanism, occultic stuff. The symbols are all over the place with Perry, as well as her obsession with pizza. Let's not leave that out. She just happens to have a onesie of pizza. But I'm supposed to believe that she's just a big fan of the food, that she's not a handler now who's been passed through this satanic system, the satanic network, and is now a handler like her buddy Miley Cyrus is? Or do normal people actually get onesies of their favorite food? Anyone out there have a onesie of Oreo cookies? You have a onesie of a Tic Tac? I mean, is this commonplace for people? If you really like a food so much, you get onesies of the food and bedspreads, and you post constant Instagram pictures of you eating the food. I mean, Katy Perry is just, this woman is as satanic as they get. And of course, I exposed recently her music video, Chained to the Rhythm, where she pretty much lets you know that you're zombies, you're mice running around a wheel endlessly, that this is a controlled system. Oblivia, as in oblivious. Katy Perry went on to say, "I'm sorry, but I'm just not into witchcraft, and I am just not into people who are into witchcraft," even though she was at the Salem Witch Walk in 2014. Even though at the Grammy Awards, singing the song Dark Horse, she performed a satanic witch ritual. She was dressed as a witch inside of a ritual circle. I mean, how dumb do these celebrities really think people are? And unfortunately, the answer to that is people really are dumb. People really are believing this stuff because they're blinded by their idol worship. She could be at this witch walk. She could be doing all of these satanic things, have all of these satanic images in her song, and people still will think it's not a big deal because they love this person so much that they don't know and who they have never met and who they don't know personally, so they don't know who they really are. They only know the image that they put on television, the persona, the mirage that is with the celebrity, right? That comes with it. So Katy Perry is doing what she can to try to get this home. And this is the funniest part, I think, of the entire story, because the nun said, "Why are you so fascinated with buying this home where these murders occurred on this property, where attempted murders occurred, where the owner of the house, his son committed suicide on the property." So the property has clearly has some satanic energies on the property and is probably infested with demons. So again, they asked her why she wanted this property so badly, And she said, well, I don't know. That's why I want the property, because I want to go down and sit down and drink green tea and just go to the meditation garden and just meditate. So she wants this house, which, these people who believe in this new age crap and the universe and karma and all this energy BS that they feed us, that all these talking heads on television talk about, ooh, the universe is filled with energy and good. I mean, it's just ridiculous new age nonsense. For people like Perry, who openly talk about that say, oh, they're open to the universe. Wouldn't it be bad energy then if they believe in that garbage that they keep spewing out of their mouths and everyone else keeps regurgitating? Wouldn't it be bad energy? Would you want to move somewhere where ritual killings occurred and suicides occurred? I mean, it's laughable because it's so unbelievable that people don't go, why would she want to live there? What about her connection to witchcraft and Satanism and the occult? What about all the satanic symbols and imagery in her music? And people just go, oh, come on. She just wants the house because it's beautiful. And she's been fighting to get this house. Like, this isn't just like a bid on a house and then going, oh, I've been outbid. Or she's been fighting and battling to get this house for quite a period of time. And these nuns continually are fighting to make sure that she can't get it. And the Los Angeles Superior Court plans to have a ruling within 2 weeks. Okay, and that they're going to allow Katy Perry to have the home. That's pretty obvious. She's offered $10 million in cash and $4.5 million to buy and replace the retreat house, which is lived in by the priests on the site, because there's priests still on site at this house. And I repeat, $4.5 million to buy and replace this retreat. So we have these popes. What a coincidence these priests and these Catholic nuns on the property, that's a coincidence too as well, right? That they're there living on this property where these horrific murders occurred. So this is either some type of publicity stunt, or the nuns really, really just want the property for their own whatever reasons. But Katy Perry is demanding that she get the property. And people out there just think that this is no big deal, that this has nothing to do with the occult or Satanism, an obsession with these people who are, they are Satanists. There's no doubt about it. But they're also MK Ultra victims. Manson is another MK Ultra victim. He's a CIA operative. They brainwashed his followers. They used basic, CIA mind control tactics, drugging them up with LSD and all sorts of stuff. And that's exactly what happened there. It's the same stuff with Jonestown, same stuff we saw with Koresh. It's a common theme amongst these people who we continue to hear about. We still hear about Manson and the Manson murders all these years later. It's still something. He's almost famed. He's almost looked at as if he isn't a murderer, as if he's somebody that we should all look up to and admire. They still talk about him like that. It's insane to think about the world we live in and who gets praise and who doesn't. You don't hear anyone praising Jesus Christ on television, but you hear praise about Katy Perry going to the Democratic National Convention, or Demi Lovato wearing a transgender shirt during a live performance to support the transgenders. The world has been flipped upside down. So just like Jimmy Page needed to have Aleister Crowley's home and had to buy this, this dump in the middle of nowhere, where it even says, which is hilarious, in this article, if you want to look it up, I'll link it below, about him buying the house. It says he was driven by his long interest in the work of Victorian occultist Aleister Crowley, and he is a magician of the black arts. The black arts. So apparently, human sacrifice, which, may I quote him? Please? Thank you. In addition to teaching about animal sacrifice and human sacrifice, he says, for the highest spiritual working, one must accordingly choose that victim which contains the greatest and purest force. A male child of perfect innocence and high intelligence is the most satisfactory and suitable victim for these black magic rituals. And then he goes on to say, the blood sacrifice, though more dangerous, is more efficient, and for nearly all purposes, human sacrifice is the best. This is stuff that Crowley teaches, and these people follow, and then they go, well, Crowley was a magician of the black arts. That's how they tag everything with art. art, fart. Marina Abramovich, she's an artist. The woman's painting walls, talking about drinking semen and painting it with coagulated blood. That nobody asked where she got the blood and whose blood it was, because nobody cares. And they call these people artists, and they glorify them. It's a joke. It's absolutely ridiculous. That's why Jimmy Page bought this satanic home where all these rituals were performed. And that's why Perry wants this home where these satanic rituals were performed. And also to clearly glorify somebody she admires and looks up to, another victim of mind control, Charles Manson. So give me a break, Katy Perry. Can if you're a fan of Katy Perry, can you wake up already? I mean, how much more do you need to see? I think Katy Perry is at the point of celebrity where she is surpassing almost Beyonce as being that much in your face with this garbage day in and day out. She's at these witch walks and people are going, she's a Christian. I've seen people writing that she's a Christian. Her parents are ministers. Oh my goodness, I should believe that she's a Christian. She's at a witch walk. But that's the thing. They make it seem like, oh, it doesn't really mean anything with witches. It's just a good time to remember something in history. This is the world we live in, folks. They want to continue to dumb people down, to continue to make people as naive as possible, so they can continue to get away with brainwashing people into magic, witchcraft, Satanism, the occult, sorcery, and all the things that they do in darkness, which they're bringing to light. Give me a break. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.